Hey guys, welcome back to another video game collection. Now this is where they start getting big, and this one's going to take a while, but remember, if you see any games in this collection you want us to play, let us know in the comments below, and we'll try to get to them and play them. But right now, well, they're in alphabetical order, and right now we're going to do the ones that's loose, or I should say. But okay, first is Littlest Pet Shop. And I don't know anything about Littlest Pet Shop because my little sister got it. Namco Museum Remix, which is just a bunch of Pac-Man games on one disc. The old Pac-Man, newer ones, and stuff like that. And it's really fun. If you find this game, you need to pick it up. Deer Drive is a hunting game for the Wii, which we do have, like, I think 2 shotguns and a pistol for the Wii. But what you do, you hunt, they run by and everything else. They run by, they try to attack you and everything else. And you gotta shoot a mountain deers and everything else, but my dad's the one that completed this game, because that's the only game he's good at, besides pool. Link's Crossbow Training, which is just a crossbow training game for the Wii. Like any other one, but you get to play as Link. Red Steel 2 is about you being like a samurai cowboy in a way. And you have to like kill the guys, all I know. I forgot why you had to do it or what. But this is a fun game, and you need to pick this up if you find it. Cartoon Network's Punch Time Explosion XL is basically a ripoff of Smash Bros. But I think it's a decent game, bringing all all the Cartoon Network characters together into one game. It's a story mode, and it's got like where you can fight each other and everything else, and it's a good game. Spore Hero is about you being a creature that hatches out of an egg, and you can customize them any way you want. You can try to make them these ways, or go all out and make them look like a deformed monster that came from a river. Can't see it, but it says Pets Rescue Wildlife Vet, which is a vet game, and that's all I can tell you about it because my sister got these certain ones. Cars, which if you played Cars 2, this one's the best one to get, is because you can kind of drive around and everything else on it, but it goes nothing like the movie. And you can buy certain characters and play as them in the game and drive around. And the last one, which is a game that I've liked playing, was Real Hero Firefighter, which is a game that you're a firefighter and you go through different stages and levels of the game and put out fires. But the worst part on there is when you get attacked by a sun in a museum. But if you come across this game, you need to pick this one up and play it. And that's the last of the loose ones. And now onto the ones that we got for in the cases. Yeah. 300 Family Party Great Games Outdoor Fun. Which in this game you play like so many little games and stuff like that. Like it says over 30. But you can get to pick the characters who you want to be, like the little boy, little girl, grandma, grandpa, and stuff like that. And if you're into certain party games, you kind of need to pick that up. I ain't going to really recommend it that much because it's not really that good, but it's still good. A Boy and His Blob. To me, this is a hidden gem for the Wii because I was watching a video and it said there wasn't too many of these released. But then I don't know about that. But what it involves you being is this little boy, and you have to help him take out this guy. Which it's a fun game and everything else. You feed him jelly beans and he'll transform and everything else like that. But if you come across this game, you need to pick this one up because it's originally for the Nintendo, the NES, in other words. But I want to play it on the NES and see what it is. Bakugan Battle Brawlers, which is a story mode for, game for Bakugan, which you collect Bakugan, you use them and fight and everything else. And it's got a really decent story mode to it and everything else. But you get the, I think this one you can customize your character in it. Yeah, you customize your character in it and battle other players from the anime. Bakugan Defenders of the Core, which is another Bakugan game for the Wii. But this one you get to run around in it and stuff like that. And you learn different tricks and stuff like that. But this one involves them being like right here, life size, if they were real. And you get to battle around in the city and everything else, which I like this one better. Oh. Ben 10 Alien Force, which is basically like in a way like the like an episode of Ben 10 in a way, or should I say episodes? But you play as Ben 10, and you play as his aliens and everything else. That's all I can really say. But you can find Grandpa in there and stuff like that. Ben 10 Ultimate Alien Cosmic Destruction, which is another Ben 10 game for the Wii, which you get to play as some of his later ones, and you get the what is it? Their ultimate forms of them, like Humongous Soar and Big Chill, Spider Monkey, Echo Echo, and Swamp Fire. Beyblade Metal Fusion Battle Forest or Fortress. Can't read right. Which it says in exclusive TV episode inside. But you play through the Beyblade one for Metal Fusion and everything else. But the episode is on the disc, so when you put the disc in, you can watch it on the on here. Which you got to put in the Wii. But this is a decent game because you play as him, right? Okay. Loner said yes. You play as him and you got to fight other Beybladers, which sometimes more than one come at you at once. A game that everybody's known and probably played at least for other systems. Bully Scholarship Edition, which involves you being this kid and everything else. You can bully people, you can fight the principal and teachers and stuff like that. But this one comes with the map. If I can open it up wide enough for everybody to see it. But it comes with the map of Bulworth, which is it's by the same creators of Grand Theft Autos. The Grand Theft Auto series, which this is a good game. And if you come across this, you need to pick this up. Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the Reflex Edition, I guess that's how I say it. But same thing like every other Call of Duty, all I know. You gotta go around shooting people. That's all I know about it. Carnival Games is a game about, I think it was like you was a kid. Or no, that was something else. Never mind. That's later. But it's about you playing these mini games and everything else in a carnival, winning prizes and everything else. But when I played this, I got most of the prizes, which they're hard to try to get some of the bigger prizes. Chaotic Shadow Warriors. Chaotic is it's a card game where you can collect it, but sadly I did not get the card inside. But I do got Chaotic cards. But you play as the kid from it, and you got to fight the enemies. And certain times you can actually get the enemies to join your side. and fight with the other characters. But you can run around and stuff like that until you run into somebody and you get into a battle. Circus Stars is a circus game where you get to perform tricks and stunts and everything else like that. But that's all I could really tell you about. You know, jump through the air and be a clown and stuff like that. Circus Games is about a kid that really he overhears that a guy is trying to take over the circus, and he's doing everything he's trying to do to stop them from doing it, which you play through mini games and stuff like that, and everything else. Call Up for Journey is a drawing game for the Wii, I think, because I didn't play this one. This one was something my sister got. Dub Blob and Dub Blob 2, which involves you being this guy, and you can change into any color, but they call you Dub Blob because they don't know what you are, and you have to fight these ink people, which they're the bad ones, and you got to color the buildings and everything else to progress through the game. It's really fun and everything else, and if you do, you need to pick up 1 and 2 so you can get the full story on what goes on in this game, because you have to have the first one to know what goes on in this game. Because I got this one first, and him is basically like a Hitler in a way, but it's the same thing as like that. You color buildings and everything else, but I think you get different things in here. Destroy All Humans, Big Willie Unleash, which imbues you as Cryptosporidium. I had to think of his name. And you get to play as Big Willie, which in a way that it's actually there's actually a burger place, I think, with somebody like this as a mascot, which I forgot what it's all about this game, but I haven't completed this one yet because I recently got it. Because you can see there, $6.95. This is something my sister got. Disney Princesses and Enchanting Storybook, which is basically like a Disney princess game. You color and stuff like that, and it tells you the story and everything else like that. That's all I can really tell you about. Which they do have it on the DS, like it shows on the back of the pamphlet. But you have to have the Wii U-Draw pad to play it. Donkey Kong Country Returns involves you playing as Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong if you play multiplayer. And you got to go through this game, beating bosses and everything else. But the levels get harder and harder as more as you progress through the level. And the volcano is the hardest ones to play, because you got to do a lot of stuff. And I've about had, I think, everything collected on that game. Dora Saves the Crystal Castle, which my sister got this one. Involves you playing as Dora, and you just go through here doing puzzles and stuff like that, and trying to save the Crystal Kingdom, all I know. It's something like that. That one was hard to close. Epic Mickey 2, The Power of Two, involves you being Mickey Mouse and Oswald in this world that seems like really just ink, just black and white. And you come there and you help Oswald fight off these monsters and stuff, because really you was the one that caused it all. Which your play as Mickey and everything. I've played the first one to get the feel of the story, but that was my aunt's one. She has that game. Game Party 3. 19 hit games, which involves you playing skee ball, pool, and stuff like that, and everything else. Which I don't really care that much for this game. And that's our first stack. Our next stack. This one's to me is like a hidden. This one here is a hidden gem for the Wii, which is Generator Rex, Agents of Providence. I guess that's how you say it. Which it involves you playing as Generator Rex, which was an old Cartoon Network show, and you have to fight characters and everything else with your robot arms, or really robot parts, and you gotta defeat your enemies and stuff like that, like a beat 'em up in a way, which is really fun. If you come across this game, you need to get it. Which you can upgrade yourself on there and everything else. Glacier 2 is like Mario Kart in a way, I think, because you shoot each other and stuff like that, and it's basically all on an ice track. To me, this is another hitting gem. It's GoldenEye, but you can't see it because the sticker's there. GoldenEye 007, which no, I did not pay no $18 for this. Which you play as James Bond, going through this place and everything else, killing off. I forgot what they were, but you get to play multiplayer in this game. And you can get the golden gun in here, which is a one-shot kill if you're playing multiplayer. I should know, because when me and Loner was playing it, I shot him in the nose and it killed him.
It didn't even make sense.
I basically missed his nose by like 2 inches, but it still killed him. Okay, Guinness World Record, the video game. Now, this is a game where you're trying to break records. I don't know if they had actually created for the game and everything else, and I just found another empty sleeve I could put a game in. But it involves you. You can pick a character and stuff like that, and everything else to beat the records and everything in the game. But if they still had the online featured, you can try to beat the people's records online and everything else, which is a fun game. Now I'm going to do these three all at once, is because they're kind of the same game. The Guitar Hero World Tour, Guitar Hero Legend of Rocks, which you know I have this one for the PlayStation 2, and Guitar Hero Aerosmith. Which Guitar Hero, you play songs from like classic rock, basically, and sometimes might be country in a way. And that's what the Guitar Hero World Tour and Guitar Hero 3. But Aerosmith, you get to play as music from the band Aerosmith played, and it's got live action cutscenes and everything else, and it tells you about themselves. And this one's a good Guitar Hero game. This is a game everybody should have for their Wii, or need to get for their Wii. Is Jeopardy. Now, Jeopardy involves you playing games with Alex Trebek, which I would like to find this thing, the Wii speaker. But you get to play as games and get to play as your customized character. And Alex Trebek tells you questions and stuff like that. And you see who gets the most points at the end of the game. Kirby's Epic Yarn, which involves you playing as Kirby, and you get sucked into this world with the blue Kirby, and you get to fight characters and stuff like that, but you get to transform into vehicles and stuff like that to help you get through the level, which everybody needs to get this game.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, and mine. Lego Batman, the video game, which involves you playing as Batman through the story mode and different characters when it progresses. But you can go back through it and get the characters. But I think this involves like a movie or two in it, but I can't really remember. Lego Harry Potter Years 1 through 4, which involves you playing as Harry Potter, Ron Weasley, and I can't remember the girl's name. But you play through the movies 1 through 4, You get powers and stuff like that, different powers to help you. And my favorite character in the Harry Potter, which I don't watch much, is Hagrid, the big bearded man. Lego Indiana Jones: The Original Adventures, which involves you playing as Indiana Jones in the first three movies. I was trying to think, which I do have them, the first three movies, which I got them in a box set. But it's like this one's they make fun of the movie and stuff like that. But there's a guy that dies in the movie, and they make him where he doesn't die in the game. Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga, which involves you playing through the first, I forgot how many movies, 7, something like that movies, which is like a big Lego roster and everything else that they made for it. And that's all I can really say. But I think, had like every character for these about. Now, one of the worst games probably ever created for the Wii is M&M's kart racing, which involves you playing as the M&Ms, except the brown one because he's not in here. And you gotta buy vehicles and everything else. And it's always so easy to play it. But the worst thing on here is when you turn, it screeches so loud and it hurts my ears and I don't like it. This is one I don't play at all, but it still ended up in our collection. There's Madden 7, and there's football. That's all I can tell you. Which you can play as the teams that were in 2007. That one was hard to close too. Mad World. It involves you being a guy, like a cop in a way. And you end up going into this town. And you have to end up killing like people and stuff like that. Because they're infected with this drug-like stuff. And it causes you to go crazy. And the case is broke. That's the way I bought it. The case was broke. But it involves you going crazy and stuff like that with them. And you gotta defeat these bosses and everything else. Which is a fun game. And everything else. But there's so much blood everywhere. Marvel's Ultimate Alliance, which involves you playing as Marvel characters. And my favorite is Ghost Rider. I think that's what his name, right? And you can play through the story mode and everything else, and getting different characters and everything to put in there. But I never completed that one. Mario Super Sluggers, which is a baseball game for the Wii, which you play as Mario, get characters and stuff like that. And Bowser's the main villain in the game, like always. And you have to unlock characters that help you get farther in the game, which more is stronger than the other ones. So if you don't watch out, you get weak characters. Everything else, and it sucks. Mario Kart Wii, which everybody knows about Mario Kart. You get to play as your favorite characters from the Mario series, except the new ones, which has like different characters that doesn't belong in it. But I've almost had every character for them on here for it. This is a game everybody should pick up whenever they come across it, which is Metal Slug Anthology, I guess that's how you say it. Anthology, which involves you playing as the old arcade games for Metal Slug, which there's like 6 of them, I think. Yeah, 6 of them. Which the Metal Slug 6 was never available until now, it says. But it's a fun game. When you die, you just start up in the same place, so it doesn't care how many times you die, because it was for the arcade. And you know, when you have the arcade, you got to put coins in there. So Michael Jackson, The Experience, and everybody should know that Michael Jackson passed away 5-6 years ago or more, something like that. But I did not buy this one at Walmart, so I didn't get the glove. But you play through some of his greatest songs that he's ever did, and everything else, which is kind of hard for a fat guy like me to do it. Minute to Win It. And if none of you heard about this game, which you are doing. You are trying to get $1 million by doing minute things. Like if it's telling you to rip a whole box, rip tissues out of a box in a minute, and you can progress. Which the last thing on there to do, it's so hard, is to get the coin in a big water jug, and that's the hardest thing to do. But I used to do it like nothing. Monster 4x4 World Circuit, which is a monster truck racing game, which you can play soccer in it too, and demolition, I think that's what it was. Something like that. But you play this game, unlock monster trucks and levels and everything else. When I first got this game, it was fun and everything else, but I don't care much for it. But my favorite thing on here is a bus. Now these three is something that my older sister had got. My Sims, My Sims Agents, and new My Sims Kingdom, which involves you playing as a character on here and everything else. And you get to customize your character and kingdoms and places like that and make them better. This My Sims involves you being a character, and you had to stop a villain in it because he was going to do something. My Sims Agent involved the same villain in it, and you had to stop him from taking over the world. And My Sims Kingdom involves you being like making your own castles and stuff like that and everything. That's all I really know about them.
They all have the same villain in it.
Yeah, they all have the same villain in it, so...
And his name's like Microbus or something.
Yeah, some really complicated name.
I just call him Microbus.
NCSI, based on the TV series, which is basically, in a way, it's like a Telltale game, but they didn't make this one, so it wasn't really as good as a Telltale series game. Which you play as the characters in NCSI and stuff like that. Solve mysteries, murders, kidnappings, robberies, stuff like that. New Super Mario Bros. Wii, which you play through here. You play multiplayer and everything. And the levels get harder as more as you get up to them and everything else, but this is what we all played before Mario Maker, just to let kids know about it. To me, this is a hidden gem which everybody should get. It's Knight's Journey of Dreams, which it involves you playing as knights, which I don't know if still yet if it's a boy or girl.
It says it's a boy in the game, but it looks like a girl and sounds like a girl.
Yeah. Which there's like a dark dream, like character in a way, that you have to fight. But it's like Sonic's, but you're flying. But you get to make your own like little place, world thing, put kids in it, and stuff like that, little people and trees. But you have to keep watch, because if you don't, monsters will attack it.
You can just kidnap all the little people you see in it.
Yeah. North American Hunting Extravaganza. This is the only one in hunting experience. It involves you hunting animals and stuff like that, but this one's harder than the first one that we showed you, that deer drive. Even my dad couldn't do it because he was really good at the hunting game. I'm just gonna set. No, there it goes. I was gonna set it up there because it went shut. Now that new game that's out, that everybody's, all the other YouTubers have been playing, this is something that came out before it, but it was called Order Up, which involves you cooking food and serving it and everything else, which is just like that Overcooked game that they have now. But I haven't really played much of this one, so.
All it is you buy a restaurant and build it up, make it better.
This is a hidden gem for me. It's called Our House Party, which you play these mini games and stuff like that. You go to your local Home Depot, that's what the game's made from, the Home Depot. But you get you gotta purchase stuff and everything else, and make your house any way you want. And the worse you do on it, the worse your house looks. But you can make a candy house out in this game. And my favorite...
I wonder why it doesn't just like crumble or get eaten by bugs.
Yeah. My favorite thing to do on that game is to get the forklift and drive it around. Because it's way easier to take your stuff in and out of the house. Yeah. Paws and Claws Pet Vet, which is another vet game for the Wii my sister got. That's all I can really say. But it was made by a good company. Well, a few good companies. That's what I can say. Pirates of the Caribbean, At World's End, which involves you playing as characters from, like, the heroes, really. I think it's what it was. From Pirates of the Caribbean, which I can't really remember much of this one. Except you break out of prison, I think. Playground, which involves you being a kid, and you're basically playing around on the playground like you would do.
And there's no classes at all.
Yeah, there's no classes and everything like that. Pokepark Wii Pikachu's Adventure, which involves you playing as Pikachu. And you gotta go around doing these little mini games and stuff like that, and try to help your friends, like really save your friends and stuff like that. This is a fun game and everything else, and we would like to get the second one, but it always costs us too much whenever we come across it. Rayman Ravaging Rabbids is a party game. It's a multiplayer party game, which you can play as Rayman, or the Rabbids from the spin-off show Rabbids Invasion after they made these. But it's a decent game. I had the first one, but I sold it by accident when I was little. So, I don't have the first one. But I think it's funny on here when you can slap the little rabbits to make them shut up and you accidentally slap them twice. This one, I don't know which one it is really.
It's the Archives, which is like somewhere around the first one.
Well, I don't know, it's Resident Evil. Which you play the Resident Evil game and everything else, which is a fun one. But it's kind of weird when it's on the Wii. Which I do have a lot of Resident Evil games laying around. Just like this one here that's coming around. Resident Evil, The Umbrella Chronicles. Which involves you fighting zombies and stuff like that, like every other Resident Evil. Which you're actually trying to see what the Umbrella Corporation did. To what they did or whatever to cause this. Ryu is a multiplayer party game, like it says, which you can play as characters from the first Ryu movie, which is a decent game and everything else. But I didn't pay like too much for it. I didn't pay that for it. I paid like $1, I think, for this game. Yeah. My brother pointed at this, but yes, I did pay $15 for this. But this was like a few years back, like about 5 years back or something like that.
It's when he was stupid.
Yeah. Until I started learning I could save money if I buy cheaper ones. But Scooby-Doo First Frights involves you playing Scooby-Doo, really, like, after they meet together and everything else. Which it takes, like, wacky places, like a school, a boat, and stuff like that. And I have wrote cheat codes down for it if anybody wants to use them. And they do work. Which they're actually to help you get, like, unlock characters ahead of time, which you can buy character costumes and characters, and you can actually play as a lot of the villains in it, except the bosses. You can't play as the bosses. Scooby-Doo and the Spooky Swamp, which is a Scooby-Doo game. It involves you being in the swamp, like the movie, which is basically the same, like, style as Scooby-Doo First Frights. And that's all I can really tell you about. Sea Monsters, a prehistoric adventures. It says experience the adventures of the giant screen up here in the corner if you can see it, which is basically just a Hungry Shark World like game basically for the Wii.
Except you don't grow; you just find fossils and create new dinosaurs.
Yeah. Skylander Giants, which involves you playing as Skylander characters and everything else, which you know, I do have Skylanders. Like this one, which we do have a bunch of them. And you play as the Giants, and Lord Chaos, or whatever you want to call him, is the main villain in the game. And you just play as the Giants. Skylanders Swap Force, which involves you playing as swap characters if you can find them, which are so hard to find the swap characters. And we do only have a half of one. But Chaos is the villain in this one, like the other ones. But you have to stop him from trying to take over Skylands, or whatever it was called. Skylanders Supercharge Racing, which involves you playing as characters, like from them, and the old ones and the new ones, but in the racing forms. Which we do have the Bowser and his flying ship. Which Chaos ain't a villain in this one, but you can get a trophy, which we do have it, and you can play as Chaos. But all it is just like a Mario Kart ripoff, like a poor one, actually, because it's so slow and stuff like that, but it's still somewhat decent. And another Mario Kart ripoff, Sonic and Sega All-Star Racing, which involves you playing as a bunch of the old ones, which you do get to play as your Mii characters in here. So, but you get to play as Sonic, II from Super Monkey Ball, Amigo, Tails, Dr. Robotnik, Curion Mansion, and stuff like that in this game, which I actually like that game. Not Curion Mansion because I don't play that. I haven't played that one. Sonic and the Secret Rings, or Sacred Rings, whatever you want to call them. It involves you getting into this world, basically, and you get this ring on your finger, which it puts this looks like arrow into your chest.
It's not the ring that does it; it's the genie in it.
Well, the
He
genie
shoots a fire arrow into your chest, and after it burns out, you die.
Oh,
the ring is just some ring that he wears.
I didn't want to know that about the genie, but that's okay.
And the one thing is we can't complete it because we only missed one ring and can't get it.
Sonic Colors, which involves Eggman taking over these alien planets. And you can play these minigame-like things as the Wii characters, so you get to see yourself in a Sonic costume. But you get the power from these little creatures that would help you get through the levels and stuff like that. Which is a fun game, actually. You should pick that up. Sonic Unleashed, which involves you turning into a werewolf. And that's all I can really tell you about. When it gets dark and the full moon's out, you turn into a werewolf. And a little character follows you around. That's all I really know much about it. Super Smash Bros. Brawl, which has a big roster for its time and everything else, which you get to play as classic characters through the Nintendo series. And there's a good story mode to it, and you get to play as levels from like Nintendo Classic games. Now this is a game I completed in 3 days trying to collect every star to see if it was true that you could play as Luigi, which is true. To let you know, which is true, you can play as Luigi if you collect all the stars. Is Super Mario Galaxy, which involves you play as Mario, and Bowser took over the castle and kidnapped Peach, which is in the day of a festival and everything else, like a meteorite festival-like thing in a way. And you get to go to different planets and get characters and fight them and stuff like that, and collect stars, which is so hard. Super Paper Mario, which involves you playing as Mario and other characters in it, which this one has it where you can flip it and turn it back to 2D, which involves Mario, Peach, Bowser, and Luigi all getting into this one world where them two are the villains. And Luigi turns evil in this game, and you have to go through here and do little puzzles and stuff like that to get through. SpongeBob's Plankton Robotic Revenge, which it involves Plankton trying to take over Bikini Bottom. That's all I remember about it. And it's got a Walmart cart thing in it. I don't know why this is in there. It's going to stay in there.
In that game, you can play as 5 different characters. It's Sandy, SpongeBob, Patrick, Squidward, and Mr. Krabs.
Now, I didn't get this game, but I've played it and it's actually somewhat decent. Is Tangled, which you play as the girl from it, which I can't remember her name.
I think you play as the guy in it too, if you want to.
Yeah, you can play as the guy, but you can play multiplayer together. So, but you got to go through here and everything else, and it's different It's like different from the movie, but there was a little poster with it, little like poster thing that came with it, which shows you other Disney products that you can get. Which I don't think the stepmother, it doesn't show her getting killed in this.
I think it does, actually. I think it just takes the clip from the movie.
I don't know. But it's a platforming and like beat 'em up game in a way. And puzzle. Tenchu Shadow Assassins, which involves you being a ninja in the old times when they were samurais and stuff like that.
But there is muskets in the game.
Yeah, there is muskets. So it's not that old. But you got to play as the guy, and you can play as the girl, I think, too. But you got to go around killing people and sneak into places and save people and other stuff like that. This, to me, was a really extremely hard game to find for the Wii. And it's Thrillville, off the rails. And which involves you being a character that you can pick any character from. And you can go around making your own parks and racetracks and stuff like that. Making sure your park stays in tip-top shape so you can get the most money out of it. Here's another Cartoon Network classic. The Secret Saturdays, Beast of the Fifth Moon, which involves you playing as the characters from Secret Saturdays. And I think his name was Zach.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zach. And he's the kid that's got powers. Well, I think you can play as Zach. I don't know. I thought you could only play as Zach, didn't you?
No, you can play as his dad and mom in certain spots. I think Fisk.
Yeah. But it involves you going through here, beating up monsters, and using your claw power to help them to get through it and everything else, which you can actually control certain ones that would help you through the level. And this is a decent game. If you come across this game, you should get it. Now this is for you big Disney movie watchers of the classic ones, which is Think Fast, the Ultimate Trivia Showdown, which involves you picking any Disney character, or certain ones that they have, basically like Mickey Mouse characters. And you got to go through certain levels, and you got to be smart to play this game. That's really what I should say. Because it shows clips and stuff like that from the old movies, and it tells you what is this movie from, or who was in this scene and stuff like that. Toy Story 3, which involves you playing as, forgot who. I think Buzz, basically.
No, it's Woody and Buzz sometimes.
Well, but you can play as those characters. And my favorite part on here is the racing around, which it does have a little poster with this too for Toy Story 3, which I don't know why like the Wii games would include posters like this. You Draw Studio, which is like a painting game and drawing game for the Wii. That's all I have to really say. And you have to have the draw pad to play it, which we have it, but I don't want to have to dig it out. This is like the first Wii game I've got, besides Wii Sports, is because it always comes with the Wii. But it's up, and it's nothing like the movie, but there's different things in there. You get to play as Doug, Russell, and Carl. I was trying to remember their name. But in this movie, the guy still dies in it, but different.
He flies away by balloons.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, the balloons get caught to him and he flies away.
Wii Play is you play these bunch of little mini games and stuff like that with your Wii characters, which is actually like fun and everything else like that. But you play pool and stuff like that, shooting and other things. Wii Play Motion was a Wii Play created for the newer Wii that they had for the Motion, which is basically got different mini games than the Wii Plus, the Wii Motion, Wii Play, if I can say it right. Wonder World Amusement Park, which involves a bunch of party mini games to win prizes and stuff like that. And you can play by yourself if you want to.
That's for when you don't got any friends.
And I don't know where the Wii Sports is at. It's somewhere around here, so there's another one I can tell you about. Wii Sports is about sports games for the Wii when it first came out. And our last one, which I don't know nothing about this because my little sister got it, is Zuzu Pets. This is featuring the Wild Bunch, which Zuzus was these little animal-like hamsters that we like when it was popular when I was little, which I still have mine around here somewhere, and Loner's got some too.
I got two, but they're so annoying when they get turned on.
Yeah, but these are like the ones that they made more for the boys, which they were fighting ones that you got little armor stuff and knives and stuff like that where you can fight them. Well, that's all of the Wii games. There's 98 of them here, but there would have been 99 if I could have found the Wii Sports. But that's the end of the video. Remember, if you guys see any see any of these that you want us to play, tell us about it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell for notifications for future videos.